my life, and I think about all the mess that I have made. I wonder why God put up with me. See, I should have been dead, sleeping in my grave. But so many times God made that death angel behave. When I look back over my life, and I think about all the mess that I have made, I wonder why God put up with me. See, I should have been dead, sleeping in my grave. But so many times God made that death angel behave. I don't know why Jesus loved me. I don't know why he cares. I don't know why he sacrificed his life. But I'm glad. Oh, I'm so glad he did. I don't know why. I don't know why he loves me. And he cares. I don't know why. I don't know why he sacrificed his life. I don't know why he loves me. And he cares. I don't know why he sacrificed his life. You didn't have to come. You didn't have to. You didn't have to cry. Lord, you didn't have to die. You didn't have to go. You didn't have to heal. You didn't have to cry. Lord, you didn't have to die. I don't know why he loves me and he cares. I don't know why he sacrificed his life. I don't know why he loves me and he cares. I don't know why he sacrificed his life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Many times I ask myself for him. All right, praise the Lord, everybody. Just a little introduction to a song that I wrote and recorded. Just want to thank you for clicking on. Today I want to talk about a little bit about the transition that the Israelites making. The awakening Israelites are making a transitioning into the place that God wants us to be. And the transition is kind of hard because we are hesitant to act like the people of God because the world has turned everything upside down. Babylon, here in Babylon, we are considered an astonishment because we've been cut off from our inheritance. Jeremiah 17:4. We've been cut off. God scattered the Israelites amongst the heathens. Okay? Because of their disobedience to him. The story is that God chose the Israelites out of a people, the people of Adam. He chose the Israelites to carry his word, to be witnesses
to be witnesses. That means a lifestyle. Our lifestyle, we have to witness to the rest of the world who God is and how he expects us to live based on the laws that he gave us and the responsibility he gave us to keep the law. If not, he would destroy us from being a people and scatter us among the people until his appointed time to deliver us, and then by our own will, our hindsight, we know better now that it's better to keep God's laws than to keep man's law. It's better to prepare for God's kingdom, to live forever in God's kingdom, than live for a little time under these boogeyman gods, these empire builders. These are the captivity that we went into. Okay? Because we chose not to be the empire builders that God set us down here to be. We chose not to be these empire builders. We're supposed to be the gods of the earth, because we are the only people that had God's laws. We were supposed to imitate, go around being little gods. We were supposed to be little gods. Okay? We were supposed to go around imitating God. When God set us up after he delivered us out of Egypt, when he set us up, the world knew that we were his people and the earth belonged to us because God established it and let them know. They knew it. We don't know how powerful and how well set we were. We were based on what God did by destroying the other nations and setting us up and saying that these are my people through his actions. Okay, setting us in our own land, dividing the nations. He set us up as the kings, but we don't realize how set up we were because we are in this captivity, because we lost our everything. We lost everything. Ox knows his master's, ass his master's crib, but Israel did not even consider who they are, where they came from. That's how destroyed we are as a people. Okay? So the rest of the nations know this. So that's why God is charging them for everything that they done to us. And we see that skirt and those legs are the European nations. Okay? Those are the European nations. That golden skirt and the Rome, where it got down there, Rome, 63 BC, all of that down to the foot. Now, God destroyed the Europeans' rule. Their time to rule is over when Christ came. You see where that rock is hitting the foot of the statue? That's where Christ entered in. The statue had been knocked down. We're ending up Esau's rule right now. He would be the last heathen to rule a heathen kingdom over us. Every one of those kingdoms, when they decided to make their declaration and their power, to make their stand in power, they captured the Jews and the Israelites and took over Jerusalem. Every one of us, every one of them. So why wouldn't the Europeans do it? But the reason why they got rid of the Apocrypha is to cut out the Grecian Empire, because they stayed in rule. The dragon, the beast, well, the wounded beast, Great Britain, gave its power to Babylon. That's the Grecian Empire and the Roman Empire merged. They're the same people, Idumea. They merged. So that's why they took the Apocrypha out, because they don't want you to know that they're still governing the way they did in the Grecian Empire. Because everybody merged into those kingdoms like one people. The Israelites, whatever, Africans, they all became one people. And that's the same people that's in power now. They believe in bringing everybody in like a melting pot. And that way, the other nations cannot be reestablished and come against them, because their children will think they are of Americans, or they are Ethiopians, when they're white or they're black, when they are not of that nation, they will assimilate into those nations and start calling themselves that nation. But in reality, this Roman and Greek set up white supremacy, and they took away the other nation's land and renamed everybody that was during the discovery era. That's when the Catholic Church was discovering everybody's land and claiming it for themselves based on the power that they had and the white Jesus they painted. Okay? So that's why they took the Apocrypha out to hide the Grecian Empire, because they want you to think that this is something new. They stumbled up on this Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and they stumbled up on this land and these people, and we were heathens. And they told our children that we were heathens before they got here, but they are the real heathens, the cave dwellers. We already had technology. They stole the people and the land, so therefore they stole the technologies on all the land. They started in Europe when they came out of those caves. The Moors, which were the Israelites, taught them and brought them back in society. And this was all God's doing. So we want to talk about today, we're in the last, we're in that foot part down there. God is gathering the Israelites up, and there's a hard transition. A lot of Israelites still are holding on to Christianity because they've been brainwashed. So we have to start talking what the Bible is saying, so these people can wake up. And I just want to show you a little bit of their slumberness. I want to use this brother from the Advice show. Now he's waking up, but he's still using Babylonian, United States terminology. You know, he still straddled the fence a little bit, but he's a good brother, and he reports on the news. He reports on what the heathens don't report on. So that's why we love him. We look at him, but we want to look at also how the Christians who are part of these three churches that burnt down, some of them speak out. And we can tell that they do not understand what's happening with them and what God is doing, because what God is doing, he has to let the heathens rage. This is called Jacob troubles, so that the rest of the Israelites will wake up and not be assimilated into their customs, and because they are still promoting their Christianity and their way of life as being God sent. So the Israelites they have to be pulled out of that custom. So God has to let them be tormented by their oppressors, because in today's time, we don't realize what we went through, the slavery. The millennium don't realize what they went through. They can't even fathom it, because they have jobs, they have cars, they have iPhones, they got cookie and candy, you know, they got running water, even though it's poison, the food is poison. They can't put the dots, they can't connect the dots because the lines are blurred. We don't know who our enemies is. So God has to let these people act out again like they did in the 60s and like they did in slavery and all of the other times that they attacked us. He has to let us see them for who they really are. That's what the mirror is about. That's what the hot seat is about. Those are my terms, just Gestalt therapy. And so that's what this is all about. Gestalt therapy and amplifying the behaviors, our behaviors and the ambiance behaviors, so we'll unblur the lines and set everything back in place. So we'll know who the enemy is, we'll know who we are, we'll know what we're supposed to be doing out here. Because Psalms 83 has taken place. Even David saw it taking place, because all these captivities were happening, had happened. They were happening. So the prophets saw the same thing that was happening, the assimilating, the stealing of the identity, everything was happening here. Because not only with the Europeans, but with the other African nations that want to set themselves up as gods without the Bible, without God. they wanted to destroy everything about God so they could live like they wanted to live on this earth. That's the bottom line. They are of Satan. Anything that opposes God is of Satan. That's why we call them the devils. And in this last day and time, the Europeans are the devil's tools. They are the devils. They are the wicked in this day and time. Right now, they are leaders of the wicked. Okay, because we got wicked Israelites too that's not gonna make it. So we're gonna go and look at this show here. We're gonna look at a couple of these testimonies. Okay.
But I'm very optimistic because our faith is in God.
3 historic churches, all destroyed by fire in less than 2 weeks, now seeking answers.
We believe it's suspicious. We're certainly treating these fires from the beginning as crime scenes.
The churches have predominantly African-American congregations. Louisiana State Fire Marshal, alongside federal and local agencies, are investigating the cause of the fires. Officials haven't said if they're related.
However, we're very cognizant that there is a problem, and there is no coincidence that there are 3 fires.
The first at St. Mary Baptist Church on March 26th. Then, on April 2nd, a fire destroyed Greater Union Baptist Church. Just 2 days later, a third fire destroyed Mount Pleasant Baptist Church on April 4th. Church leaders say their faith won't be rocked and services will go on.
Did I want to be this at this point? No, I would rather not. But this is God's plan. He allowed it. And I believe he brought me here. He's going to bring me through this.
Each of the churches has made...
Okay. So what we see here is confusion. They're confounded. They don't know why. They don't know why that this is happening to them. They call themselves good Christians. So why is God turning on them and burning their worship place down? It's like he's trying to stop them from worshiping him. Okay? So they're confounded. But like he said, it's God's plan.
Temporary arrangements in other buildings.
We're gonna make it.
Pastor Gerald Toussaint's congregation is visiting this house of worship.
What's done in the dark will come to the light.
Because their church was destroyed.
Why?
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 Why would they do that?
His is the third Black Baptist church to burn in 10 days in the same South Louisiana parish. A rural area where religion is present in most homes.
We the community connected. We all belong to the same district. We all know each other.
Shamika Mallet is also searching for answers.
Searching for answers.
This could be racially motivated?
Yes. I think it has something to do with race.
Her family has been attending St. Mary's Baptist for
Confusion, confounded. They say they think it has something to do with race. They don't really know yet because, they really don't know yet, okay?
generations. Her mother and grandfather are buried behind the church. The only thing left, a few dozen Bible pages.
I think it's a sign.
The
Bible
ATF and
pages.
FBI have joined the investigation. Authorities aren't calling it arson yet, but say they found suspicious elements at each fire.
We do believe that crimes have occurred. We believe that the 3 fires obviously are not coincidental. They are related.
There's a long history of black churches being targeted in the South. Pastor Toussaint says he believes something good will rise from these ashes.
This caused us to call each other more than we ever called each other. This caused us to talk to each other more than we ever talked to each other.
He says the building is gone, but the church is still alive.
Now, the church that...
Okay. Now see, we see what they're saying now, right? He's saying it caused them to come together in another way. You know what I mean? See, so in other words, that building was interfering with them coming together and questioning, are we doing things right according to God? So they got on the phone, they started talking, and they wasn't, I'm sure that conversation wasn't, hey, we doing everything right, just right, and everything. So that was a blessing to burn that church down. We're going to get a new one. No. Their conversation was about, they were brainstorming. What are we doing wrong? That was the subject. What are we doing wrong? Because this is a curse. Okay, so God is gathering the people back up, but first he has to tear down the lie. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the brother now and the language that he's using when he described the devil.
And we saw in the news clip, this church been around for 145 years. I mean, that is a very, very long time. Now, if you know anything about history in America, you know that white supremacists have always burned down church.
Okay, he was going to say white supremacists burned down churches. The thing about it is, his language is wrong because what we have to do is tell the truth. America was built on white supremacy. The people who he's calling white supremacists, they are set up by the governing body of these so-called American corporation, government corporation, service corporation, America, United States. That's a government corporation, service corporation. They are over here. They hypothecated our government, the people who were here in this land, which were the Israelites, the Indians. They scattered them and moved their people in to take over this land. It's now maybe three-fourths of the people in this land are European. They're people. So they occupy this land with force and numbers. Everybody here that's European is a part of that racist white supremacy system. It's Skinner's box. They help to control the people that are left in this land who are plugged up to those time cards, being drained for their energy and given pennies just enough to live and come back the next day, okay? So that's why the Europeans are here, to help steal this land, to help enforce the power in this land over the people here. So they're all part of the white supremacy government. So we have to start using the terminology to wake our people up so we can see. And we see that it's happening more and more now thanks to YouTube. We're connecting the dots because we're calling things for what they are to help the transition go smoother, to wake the people up, because we still have these people who are confounded, who think they're serving God but still dying of cancer, still high blood pressure, calling themselves Christian. The way to seem right is unto man, but the end thereof the way of death. Okay, Jesus said that we appear to be holy, but our fear is taught to us by the customs of the heathens. When we don't fear God because we don't know his customs, how could we fear him and reverence him and thank him for being who he is? Because we don't have his customs. We don't understand him. We don't respect his law. We don't respect his mind. So we are a part of Babylon. We have that mindset. That's the 366. The mindset in our heads, and we perform with our hands the work of the devil. We are the Antichrist as Christians, black, anything that take us away from the law and the Bible and our true identity. We are taking on their culture, and we are under the curse. That's why we are still dying. When my sister and my father died, I thought I was a good Christian. I was praying, speaking in tongues. But when they died, I said, something is wrong, God. This was 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years ago. I said, something is wrong. Where are you? You are not answering our prayers. And so God said, you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I said, I don't know why not. And that's when he led me to the Israelites. When I had always been an Israelite, always tried to keep the Bible laws, different from Christianity. So I was always partly awoke, but he had to wake me all the way up to my identity, that where I would keep the laws happily and not grievously. You know, I'm keeping them happily now because that's my contract. That's my part that I'm supposed to do to keep these blessings coming. Okay? Christianity is under a curse. The people of Christianity are still under the curse. So if Jesus Christ came in the world to stop the curse of sin from hitting us, why did they run us out of Jerusalem? Why did we go into captivity? You see what I mean? If he came to show love to everybody, why did we? Because we were still under the Deuteronomy curse to be scattered all over the earth and to go in slavery on those slave ships. Jesus couldn't stop that. That was prophecy. That was God's will. That was his plan, to scatter us, to gather us back up, and to let the heathens rise to their highest level of power so he could take them down. That's the plan right there. That's the plan. That's God's plan. It's all over the Bible. That's the big picture. That's the main theme. It's all over the Bible. After they destroyed us and hid us, then it was God's plan to let them get to their highest wicked power. Their best thinking caused them to miss God. And he was going to wake these dry bones back up who they thought they had destroyed and cause them to take the kingdom back. That's what the world know. They are in fear right now. And that's what we need to speak. We need to call them who they are, because these young European and all the rest of the nation are saying they are not guilty. They have nothing to do with our captivities and what was done to our ancestors, when they are the very people. Listen to him a little more. This is my brother, and we like the way he report news. But listen to him a little more. He's going to show you, talk a little bit about white supremacy, and then we're going to end it.
Churches, because they wanted to use it as a intimidation tactic and also to make black people be in fear. This is terrorism, no different than the terrorism that happened in New Zealand. Today in Congress, they're talking about white nationalism and hatred that's spewed online, because this is where the white supremacists gather at, is different corners of the internet. And they radicalize themselves, and not just on YouTube, but more so on those places like Gab and 4chan, 8chan. They're unregulated. They can say whatever they want and plan any kind of attacks. And they constantly finding that after the fact. I promise you, if you start going to these white supremacist websites like the 8chans and the 4chans and certain places in Reddit, you probably will find them already making plans or planned it all online, because that's what they do. Same thing with Charlottesville. Everything was coordinated online, not on the Facebook or YouTube. I mean, places where everyone knows, but it's those little dark corners, the Daily Storm and all the little places like that. That's where they go. Understand, we're dealing with a treacherous enemy. And they hate everybody. It's just bottom line. Even in the...
This system is about reward and punishment, right? From first class to second class to third class, the class system, materialism, everything is about reward and punishment. That's how they keep everything in place. So he's showing you that everything is by design when it comes to these people. Even those white supremacy, we don't know who they are. We don't know who they are when we meet them in the streets, but they're on those chat lines. They're making their plans. They're finding out how the other one thinks, how they're supposed to think. They do this from birth. They are set in this land. White supremacy is designed from their school system, from the cradle to the grave. They are white supremacists, every one of them. Every one of you are white supremacists. You have to change. There has not been any psychoanalyst groups that you guys went to, any therapy groups that you guys went to change your mindset and your conception of the world, your supreme being attitude that you have, that your forefathers in this world is designed to put you into that mindset. You have not. You can't be healed from that. The Bible said you can't be healed from that. So you are all the same people, because it's the mind that controls the body. And your amygdala has been damaged. And you're in a fear response mode right now. And you're fearful for your life. So we know that you're all uniting together and becoming that big fish. That's what the forefathers knew you would do. If any kind of pressure for you guys to disassimilate, and to become less powerful in this in this world, that you would become fearful and unite together because your cognitive dissonance has caused you to look at the world different. You look at yourself as gods and the rest of the world as nothing, right? Yeah, that's what's happening. So that caused your amygdala to fail you. Okay, so when you face the idea that you're going to just be like the rest of the world, we're trying to break down white supremacy and break down your power and take your foot off the rest of the world's neck. You immediately become fearful. You become intimidated, and you feel like the world is against you. That's why you went in those caves, because you were feeling like that. And so that's why you see the escalation in killing. We know why France, they're fighting, they're imploding, they are imploding. The white power system is imploding, and it was designed to do that. So you gotta get your research and your history together, so you'll know what's going on in this world. We're trying to help you make that transition from a heathen to an Israelite, to get your culture back. You might think it don't matter, but it do matter in these last day and time, that you come back to your nationality. You come back to your saneness. Like Dr. Wilson said, in order for these people to run this world and be in power, and they're only 20% of the world population, the rest of the world has to be insane. So what that was is they took you away from your culture, because you are insane when you don't know where you came from. You won't know where you're going. You function on the reality that they made for you. And so the only way they could design, the only way they could exist and thrive and stay in power, they had to make the rest of us miseducated, and all of our mental functionings be inferior to them. So they did that by design, and they keep you like that because through all of their design, we still thrive to exist. And they can't hinder that. They can't stop that, because it's God's plan to keep them from destroying us totally. So we have to get our group think, our group talk. We have to start right there to kill the propaganda that this world is using to hold us down, because it's in our own thinking. That our thinking causes our bodies to function and to behave the way we think. We move toward what we're looking at. Okay, humans move toward what they look at. So if they're showing us as inferior, never amount to nothing, destroying ourselves, then we move toward that because we see ourselves. So our words will change how we see ourselves and how we see them.